Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. You're watching Indigo Tech Tutorials, and in this video we're going to talk about more free UI libraries for Ruby on Rails. In the last video I covered Flowbite, which I said was the best UI library for Ruby on Rails, and that's because when I used it, it was just so easy to get started. The components were just copy and paste, and right off the bat they worked with mobile responsive, which means if you resize the website down to a phone or just squish it, then it's still gonna look right. Everything's gonna keep a very good style. And another thing is that it already has the JavaScript included. So you don't have to worry about building stuff like drop-down menus, animations, and all that stuff. It's already included with the components when you copy and paste them, which was just mind-boggling because I used to spend so long building out those UIs by hand. And if you could just use a UI library, like that's probably what you're gonna want it to look like anyways. So why not just use components, and then you have to spend less time building out the front end. Even though doing front end can be fun, it can also be very, very time consuming. And that's why these UI libraries are super helpful for us developers. All right, so let's hop right into this. On the last video, I got a comment and someone said I should check out MambaUI and PinesUI because they are easier to use than Flowbite, which I'm not sure if that's correct because Flowbite was so easy for me, but I'm always happy to oblige one of my subscribers and to help them out, show them how they could do something. And even though I've never done this before, after using Flowbite, I'm sure that we could actually make any UI library work because the way that import maps works is you can import a CDN. So most packages should work, and I really do want to make more videos covering how to use any random JavaScript package or any random CSS UI library with Ruby on Rails because you can probably use anything. Ruby on Rails is just a web framework, and of course it handles the front end, which is the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, meaning you could probably use any UI library on your front end. But since we have these are the ones I'm going to do in this video. We're going to do MambaUI, PinesUI, and then CSS Zero, which is one that I already said I would do. And supposedly this is a no-build CSS framework, so there's nothing like Tailwind or any dependencies. It's just a plain CSS library for your Rails app. Okay, so let's start with MambaUI. I have no idea how to use this, so let's just go right to the website and take a look. All right, so it looks like, kickstart your website. I think they're using, what was this? There's a website called Undraw, which gives you free open source illustrations. I'm pretty sure they're using that just because look at the style, like they're definitely using one of these illustrations, which by the way, this is a great library if you guys have never heard of Undraw and you want to add these cool SVGs that a lot of companies like to have. They kind of give your website more character, and well, they actually do add a character, a human element to your site, so that can be nice. And there's the crazy thing about Undraw is there's 37 pages of this many components, so there's probably like hundreds of components for anything that you want. They even have a search. If I want to say music, check it out, there's all these different music things. If I was gonna say like outdoors, there's a bunch of those, nature, probably anything that you wanted to add into your app, you're gonna find all of these components. Anyways, let's move on. So one thing I'm noticing is it says fully compatible with these libraries, but I don't see Ruby on Rails as one of them. But like I said before, I think any UI library will work with Ruby on Rails because look, this one right here is HTML. So of course, if it works with HTML, it'll work with Rails. All right, so let's keep going. It's kind of, they're just like describing some stuff. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's click on browse free components, and we have, I guess this is where you would look. Now, right away, I don't know how this is easier to use, like the guy said. Because if you go back to Flowbite, they have a pretty good website when you think about it. If you go to explore components, see the difference here? On MambaUI, it's just like a button with the text. But on Flowbite, you actually get a preview of what the component looks like something like carousel. which you know how people like carousel. If you're doing a, let's say, e-commerce app and you want to scroll through the pictures, boom, we could have something like this right out of the box with animations and everything. The only thing it doesn't do is, oh wait, can you scroll it with your, I'm trying to like click and scroll it, but I don't think that works. Maybe one of them can do it. Anyways, I like how Flowbite is handling their website, but it also is kind of overwhelming because they have so much text. Like they really put the work in. It's like boom, so much. Whereas MambaUI might be a little bit more slim. All right, that's not actually bad. So when you click on one, it just pops it down here. So article, this would be like a blog post. It also looks like it could be for the home page. Could probably use this. Let's see what else they have. Header, maybe that's cool. Okay, a header would be like, I guess like one of these things where you can click on different links. I'm trying to think of what we can do for, oh, call to action. That's usually what you'd put on your homepage, is a cool little call to action. I mean, it's not bad, I guess. I don't really love it. Like even there's no hover effect on the buttons. So it's really super basic. But if you guys wanna, why not test this out? So I'm gonna create a new Rails app, and I'll just call this Rails new test UI. And then of course I'm gonna use Tailwind because most of these UI libraries are gonna use Tailwind. And I think for now I might just put it all into one app, and hopefully that'll work fine. That's really all we need, just test app with Tailwind CSS. So let's generate this, and then we'll try out MambaUI. There we go. So we got it generated. I'm going to cd into our app test UI. And right off the bat, let's generate a quick controller for the pages and then a home page. Just like that. And then I'll open this up in our code editor. And we'll go over to the config routes to RB, and I'm going to delete this initial get pages/home. And I'm going to go down here, uncomment the root, and set this to the pages and the home action. There we go. Then I'm going to start the server, and we can take a look at our app at localhost 3000, and boom, just like that, we get the little home page. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that margin that the Tailwind generator always adds. So if you go to Views, Layouts, Application, I'm going to get rid of this main container around the yield so that we just are rendering the page by itself. And yeah, that'll make this a little bit easier. Now if we reload, we have nothing on this home page. So I might just do a little start by adding like a div, and I'll do width full, min height screen, and then we can have a background color. So whatever background color you want. I'm going to do indigo because, well, this is Indigo Tech Tutorials, so of course we're going to go indigo. Now, we can try to grab one of these call to action things, right? Something totally different. Okay, let's try this. So if I click on HTML, this is what we get, and I don't really like this. It's not bad, right? But like, see how the text is dark and the background is dark? It doesn't really look like that professional. But I get it. This might just be a side project. Also, it's kind of confusing to see this, to click on this drop down, although it does work. Also, it seems like they're going with the indigo style on the site, so I probably should like it. I'm not sure if I should grab dark mode or light mode. So that's a little bit confusing. But I'm just going to take that code, drop it in here. And, I mean, okay. You know, I think they're using violet, not indigo. If someone wants to do a violet tech tutorials, you get that going. But alright, I mean, it's not bad, right? Yes. It's not great either, because look, the button doesn't even have a hover effect. It's just like super, super minimal. Okay. So the call to action, I mean, it's alright. This is probably something that I would more use as sign up now for my homepage. I could copy this. And really the cool thing is that you don't have to do any coding. So if you are a brand new coder and you have no idea how to even make like, you know, something like this where the text is, you know, large text. It's a great quick start, kickstart for your project. Like, see, we got this nice little sign up link. Although, if we want to center it, I'm going to add my own styling. So, like, flex call, item center, justify center. Boom. Now we have the sign up right in the middle. And if we wanted to change the background color to something else, do that. Although we probably shouldn't go darker since the text is so dark. Let's go lighter. Boom. I mean, yeah, it's not bad, right? I do a crazy background, like one of my thumbnail backgrounds, which is like 2 crazy colors. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, right? Let's see, sign up now. Now, we can try some other ones besides the call to action, of course. Let's try article. Sure, let's copy article code. Just click copy. Now, one nice thing, I guess, is that they organize it into sections. Although, as I said that, this one's not actually organized into a section. And by section, I mean like an actual section element. I don't even know what that is compared to a div. I feel like it's the same exact thing. So when we drop that in, boom, now we get the sign up page. We also have our little article thing down here. I mean, it's not bad. Like I said, it's not bad. I'm gonna get rid of the backgrounds. I'm gonna get rid of the item center because I just want to see what it looks like. All right, yeah, it's not bad. What else is there though? See, the thing that MambaUI doesn't have that Flowbite does is a lot of things actually, like the hover effects. Like there's no hover effect. There's also, I don't know if the JavaScript works. So let's try to go find like a drop down component if they have that, which I don't even see a drop down component. They do have tables, so these are pretty important for your app if you want to have a table for like an admin dashboard, something like that. So let's copy one of these tables, and I'll go and drop this in. Boom, we added our new component. Reload, boom, we have a nice table at the bottom. I mean, yeah. It looks like maybe some of the styling is not getting applied either. See, there's supposed to be a background and everything, and when I see it here, there's no background. So it almost seems like it's not working. But I guess that's only for dark mode. So you have to apply dark mode, which I'm not sure how to do that from here. So I guess on light mode, there's just no background at all, which is also, that doesn't really seem right. So I guess like it's not bad, right? If you wanted, for whatever reason, if you wanted this weather thing, that might come in handy. But another thing, guys, you could always mix and match. If there's something you really like for MambaUI, this is just, all this is doing is giving you the pre-built Tailwind code. Look at this. There's no dependencies needed. You don't need to install their package to use this. If you're already using Tailwind, you could just copy this and use it. So I don't see any problem with using Flowbite and MambaUI. And if there's any components that they don't have on Flowbite already, it's like they have the weather one, but they have that on MambaUI, so that might be a reason to come and use this. Besides that, I don't really see much use. I mean, this is not bad, actually, shopping cart. I might start using these for some tutorials. I think we're pretty due for a new e-commerce tutorial. Also, this one right here, it kind of looks like a DoorDash type of thing, although this could be for any checkout, of course. But this might be a good reason to come back here. We even have the review. So yeah, I think overall, guys, component libraries are so helpful because instead of rebuilding all this yourself, which, I mean, just building one thing like this might take like a good hour, right? Even if you're coding as fast as possible. So using a component pack is just copy paste and it saves you all that time. And of course you'd have to like update the content, but in terms of just styling it, using a component library, it's very, very quick. All right, I don't know. Oh, I like this volume slider. I do like that. It's not bad. We could probably use this for one of our music apps. But yeah, I don't know. I want to move on. MambaUI, I would rate it maybe 6 out of 10 because it doesn't look like there's any JavaScript. Doesn't look like there's very much like hover effects or stuff like that. Whereas Flowbite, they have all of that stuff already. Trying to find a good example. Accordion, I mean, yeah, see, there's at least see you hover, it's like the background changes, and it just looks clean. I guess it looks like a good UI that I would want on my website. Trying to find, there's like so many components, it's kind of hard to find one, but dropdown is a good example because building dropdowns can be painful. I mean, not too painful, but it's just like why rebuild the dropdown code every time, which is usually what I do, compared to just using this dropdown component. I wonder if there's any good ones with animation. Maybe not. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go back to the homepage, clear it out, so we can move on to the next one. Boom, we have an empty homepage. I might even change up the color. Let's do to bottom right. Damn, nice colorful cotton candy background. So MambaUI, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Could improve by adding hover effects and all UI tweaks to website as well. All right, we're gonna check this one off. Let's go to PinesUI now. So PinesUI, I'm pretty sure this is Alpine, which is a JavaScript library, Alpine.js. So this isn't really like standard default Rails. This hover effect is kind of fun. See how they like rotate the image? It almost makes it look 3D. And it's not actually an image now that I see. It's like a whole element that they're rotating, that's kind of cool. All right, so all you need is Alpine and Tailwind. So they're showing you could actually just use a CDN for Alpine. Now that's interesting. I've never really tried to add Alpine.js to a Rails app. Actually, I've never used Alpine.js before at all. And yeah, so this will be new. So I guess we could start with trying to get Alpine.js. I know we already have Tailwind, so maybe I can do like an import map. Alpine.js CDN. I'm gonna try to look this up. All right, here we go. From a script tag. So technically we could just drag this, put this in our head, and it'll do that. Or we could use import maps, which because we're using Rails and they have import maps, I guess why not use that? It's like the new way of adding in packages. So if we go to config import map.rb, so we can do a pin, and I don't even know, I think it just pin, what would we even pin it as? Probably just Alpine.js. So usually, yeah, you do it the same as this. So if you're gonna npm install Alpine.js, that's what you'd use as the name, and then we could import it like this. I think this is probably what you do still with the CDN approach with import maps. But then at that point, I guess why not just use the CDN? I don't know. We're gonna pin Alpine.js to this link to the CDN, just like we did in the last video for Flowbite. So now we're gonna have that JavaScript code, and then I think to initialize it, we'll go to config, or no, we'll go to app, JavaScript application.js, and then possibly just say import Alpine.js. And let's see if we get any errors in the console. Well, no errors actually, so I think that does work. Cool. So let's move on. Let's try to drag in a component. That's weird. I didn't know this website makes noises. All right, let's click view the elements. So they have stuff like accordions, which I guess that's cool. Here we go, marketing pages. You know I love the marketing pages. So yeah, they have stuff like this. No way, that's already built out of the box, a whole home page. And then I go to code, and it's like, oh, sign up for a free account to gain access to the first 2 templates of each marketing section. What? So it looks good, but then, yeah, they don't. That work? So confused. There is a copy button though, so it almost looks like you can copy still. This is so random. Sign up login. No, that's definitely not the right thing. So I can copy I can copy this code that just tells me to sign up for an account. Not what I meant to do. Already I'm not liking this, but I guess they're trying to make money on their project, so can't really hate on their hustle, right? It's not bad though, right? All these home pages or landing pages, they look pretty cool. Although they do look like a lot of websites I've seen using this style. And maybe they just got this from PineUI. Possibly. This guy. Why is he doing the side thumb? Could at least point to it. He's doing like side thumb, like, okay. I'm trying not to hate on the pictures too much. So right off the bat, I don't like this because it says that I have to sign up for an account, and I don't really want to sign up for an account. Oh, I just looked at the code. That looks pretty gross. All of this hash inside of the, I mean, that's stuff that we do in Stimulus occasionally, but just like the X and it refs, like all this crazy stuff. What is going on, man? Why'd you make me use Alpine.js? Anyways, all of that just for a tooltip. All of this code just so that when you hover on the element, there's a little pop-up text. Isn't that crazy, guys? I don't really like that straight off the bat, because you need to add in like, bam, all this crazy stuff just for that. Just for that pop-up. So I don't even know what else to use here, actually. A banner. I don't really need a banner. Command prompt. Image gallery, here we go. So that's something that I could use, although I'm not even sure what it does. Oh, so it gives you the option to zoom in on an image, and then it even gives you these. All right, that's pretty sweet. I don't even know, does Flowbite do that? I didn't even try to do that on Flowbite. For the image gallery, does it have that whole pop-up? Because that would actually be crazy. No, look, Flowbite doesn't even have that. So that's one bonus. Because yeah, this, it does not look like there's, oh yeah, no, they do have some slider stuff. They have gallery with sliders. This is the carousel. But as far as just the as far as just the images themselves, they don't have that pop-up, which is pretty cool. I really like that. So let's see if this just easily works in my app. If I copy paste, come back in here, reload, boom, it already looks great. And yeah, look at that. It totally works. So, I mean, that I like. I really, really like this UI. Yes. But when we look at the code, let's see how crazy it is. Yeah, this is crazy. This is like a whole JavaScript file inside of a data attribute. That's pretty insane. And then there's, it almost looks like an instance variable in Ruby with the @ sign and everything. This is crazy. So I mean, it works, but like imagine having to maintain this code. I would probably lose my mind, because it's just like, what's going on? With Flowbite, it's just pure HTML tailwind, and then you can have your Rails kind of mixed in, but this is just insane. Yeah. This, I don't like that. But if you're an Alpine guy, if you've been using Alpine.js since it came out, you might know exactly You might love that sort of vibe. This, I don't know. I mean, it's cool. At the same time, I think Flowbite has a lot of these things already built. I mean, the animations, they're pretty smooth, right? Not bad. Hello. Oh, this I like. It's almost like a code editor. That's something that I would like to have. But again, like, boom, look at all of this code and inline JavaScript functions that are inside of the HTML. Like, this is insane. It's almost worse than React. Like, definitely, this is worse than React, because at least React, you have... I mean, you know what? This does look like React, so I can't really say it's worse than React. I think they're both probably equally bad, especially when you put Redux in. But the funniest thing is that you can barely see the tailwind either. Like, the tailwind is such a small element of this. It's mostly just like a whole page of just, arbitrary JavaScript code that's not even formatted. Like, it's inside of an HTML file. This is pretty insane. Reload, I mean, it works. Hello world. But I just don't really, I don't know about this. Retro grid. Okay, this is cool, I guess. But look, it doesn't even look good. Like, you see all those, you see how it's almost like breaking in the background? It's just kind of like, doesn't look that great. This one doesn't look good either. See how the background is getting all messed up? I'll try to copy into my app though and see. Copy that in. Look, yeah, it doesn't even look good because the background gets all messed up. The lines. And I have no idea how to style it either. I mean, I guess I do. So it says min height 420. I guess some guy was, he was definitely on the 420 when you came up with this. It's not bad, but look at the background. The lines get all messed up. I don't know, guys. No, I think I'm done. I think I'm good on Alpine. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. I don't think I'll ever use Alpine JS again. But I appreciate the guy who suggested it. I'm gonna give it a rating. My personal opinion, 2 out of 10, because whole page of arbitrary JS code inside of HTML and be a nightmare to make the UI or maintain. Just my opinion. You guys probably aren't gonna agree with that. All right, let's move on to CSS Zero, which is one that I was actually really excited about because apparently there's no dependencies needed, and yeah, all that stuff. So actually, I'll just make a whole new app for this. Let's cd out of that test UI, and I'll do Rails new test CSS Zero, and we're not going to specify CSS framework because that's supposedly the thing is that you don't need a CSS framework. It's just going to use plain old CSS, which that should be something that we're happy about, because why would you want to depend on someone else's framework like Tailwind? The guy who made Tailwind's not even that chill. He tried to do a lawsuit on me because I created Tailwind Genius. Anyways, I'm gonna try not to hold a grudge on that guy. And let's generate a quick home page. Rails G controller pages and then a home action. And let's open this up in our code editor, like always. And then we're gonna go over to the config routes to RP. I'm gonna delete that default pages home get, and we're gonna set it as the root. So it's gonna go to the pages and the home action. Now we can start the server, which actually, because we're not using a CSS framework, we're not using bindev. It's actually just Rails S. Then we can reload, and this is what it looks like when you don't have a CSS framework. Some things that you'll notice is that there's no like container padding. There is a little bit of default padding, and that's something that I think is part of HTML. So actually on the HTML body, you'll notice that there's a default padding. Check it out. There's a display block and there's a margin of 8. And that's default in every HTML website. But usually when you do a CSS framework, they'll override that. But what we can do is we can override that ourselves with just doing plain CSS, which is always fun. Honestly, there's something that I really like about plain CSS because you're not relying on something like Tailwind that's just made by some other guy. Like, well, of course CSS was made by someone, but it's not, I'm pretty sure it's like open source, kind of like it's a general tool that's not owned by a company, and that's something that I really like. Anyways, to get rid of that default margin, all you're gonna do is add a body, add some styling to the body by doing this. We could say body, add the brackets, and we could just set the margin to 0 pixels. And I remember watching a video like a long time ago when I was learning to code where they told me about doing stuff like this to reset the default margin. The same thing is on the HTML. I think there might be margin. So I think we can apply it to both by saying HTML, comma, body. Get rid of the margin. We can also get rid of the padding. And then I remember hearing something about the border box. Forget what that is. It's been so long since I did this. Reset default margin in HTML. That's just all I'm trying to really look for. Oh, right here. CSS tricks. So look, this has become a very popular technique. It removes all default margin and padding for every object on the page. Some people like to include border 0 as part of it, but it's found to not be effective. Okay, so I don't know if this is really something that's that great of an idea, because the wildcard just means for everything, which means like text fields and everything too. But hey, look at that. It got rid of the margin. So it means not terrible. Now let's look up the CSS Zero and try to use this. We have CSS Zero. It's built by this guy. And well, let's just look at it. An opinionated CSS starter kit for your Ruby on Rails application. You can think of it like a no-build Tailwind CSS. All right, sweet. So how do we use CSS Zero? We're gonna have to add it to our app with a bundle add. So it is a gem. That's a little bit different from the other libraries. None of them have been gems so far, but this one's specifically built for Ruby on Rails. So that's kind of cool. Now we're going to run the install command. Go ahead and do that. Rails generate CSS Zero install. Now, what it did is it looks like it added stuff to our actual app, which is different from the other libraries too, where we might have just been importing files. This one looks like it's actually adding it to our app. We have some new CSS files. It also overrid my application HTML. It added some JavaScript files. So that's pretty interesting. Boom, yeah, right off the bat, look, we have all of these new CSS files, which, I mean, I don't really like this because right off the bat, it bloats up your app. But if you didn't want to learn how to write any of that stuff anyways, it might be fine. We even have like the simple element removal controller. All it does is this one thing. Okay. And what did it do to the application? Whoa. That was interesting. So I think it did some stuff. So now I'm going to try to, actually, let's look at the docs. What does it say to do next? It says add the additional components you need. Okay. So if you do this --help, I don't really know what that was for. So it's saying that you can add components. So I guess whenever you want a component, you have to add it. It also implements custom templates for scaffolds and authentication. Interesting. So to actually find out where all the components are, I guess we'll go to this guy's website. And here's all the components. We have stuff like accordion, which is cool. Accordion, I guess. We have animation. So these are just different animations that you might want to add. They already have them built for you, which I guess is cool. Okay, and check it out. It's using stimulus. That is pretty cool, actually. So they already have the stimulus with the data values. And I think the code, it looks clean. That's what I like about stimulus, and I like about this already. Now, one thing is it looks like this is almost like overflowing this element. It looks like almost like I can't see all the way. But I guess that's just because it's such a small part of the page. And I could also drag it, so that's not bad. Yeah. And there's like all these different things. We can copy that. All right, so I'm trying to figure out what else we can really use. Auto save. I don't get it. So look, I guess after you stop typing, after like a second, it'll actually auto save. So that's cool. I guess, yo, okay, so the best thing here, for sure, the best thing here is that it's already built for Rails, which is awesome. Because see, they're using the Rails form helpers and everything, which is very, very cool. They have custom turbo confirms. You know how there's like the turbo confirm alert? They have a custom one for that. Okay, that's pretty sweet. Not gonna lie, that's pretty awesome. So I guess they just overrid the turbo confirm, or maybe they have their own dialogue for it, but that is pretty awesome. Because this looks way better than the default one, for sure. They have an upload preview, which that's hilarious. So if I put this anime picture, yeah, nice. And then we can even get rid of it. That's pretty cool. Web share. Interesting. So they have the option to share a file, and they already write the code for you. So the coolest thing is, look, they have like the stimulus controller, the JavaScript already set up. And there's stuff like Navigator Share, which I've never even used that. I guess that's a built-in share API for the browser. So that's pretty awesome. Another thing that's weird, I didn't know you could use a pound sign for JavaScript methods. Did you guys know you could do that? Apparently it works. It looks so silly. This dot pound sign. Okay. Yeah, the stimulus is crazy. They have a tricks editor that looks pretty good. Looks better than the default one. It's pretty cool. So maybe if we're doing like a blog app, we could use this and have a really nice looking tricks editor for writing the blog. I could totally see that happening. And we have image. Yeah, honestly, I'm pretty happy with this. This looks pretty good. The only things that I'm not happy with is that why do they add it into your app? Well, I guess that could be fine, but it just kind of seems like it bloats up my code instead of just storing it in some hidden place. You know how you can have a gem installed like Devise, and they don't stick the Devise styling or the Devise stuff right into your code? Even something like action text. I'm pretty sure they don't put the styling for action text right into your app. They kind of like hide it away somewhere in the gem. That's one improvement that I would suggest. Even like the need to install the components individually, it might be better to just install them all at once, because there's really not that many components. Like, look at the side, there's only probably the max like maybe 20 components. I don't even know. I'm just estimating here. So in my opinion, just having all of those included, it wouldn't even be like an issue. It wouldn't take up too much time on the install step. I like how they have the turbo confirm because I really don't like the default, pop up. I like this one better because it has a whole modal. But still, I'm sure that we could do something with Flowbite to do this. But the cool thing, I guess, is that, look, they have the example with Rails already. That's another thing that I could give them a point for. They have submit on change. It's pretty cool. So it's just a form that whenever you click, it's going to send a request to submit it to the server. It's super basic, but this can be helpful. Submit on search. Fonts, I guess a bunch of fonts. But again, like why do they make you write the inline styling instead of just adding a class? And then look, they have text to Excel that looks just like Tailwind. So I'm not sure why they didn't just say like font be done instead of making you do it inline. There's definitely some things that they could improve on, but I like that they built something like this. It's not using Tailwind, it's all straight out of the box. But at the same time, yeah, like I don't even know which one I would want to use. That was cool, full screen mode. Oh yeah, look. I haven't even done a lot of that stuff. So you can say like request full screen to zoom in. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know, guys. They have these pop-up alerts. So like the flash icons. I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't really look that professional. Just like a little pop-up bar like that. It almost reminds me of like a search bar or something because it's rounded. I would rather the one on the left, but I'm really not trying to hate on this project because this is very, very cool. I think that more people should do stuff like this. But we have charts. No way, charts. Is this using chart.js? Yeah, it is using chart.js. But that's clean because think about it. Building the chart feature would take a while. Even using like the chart.js stuff. So it's cool that they have it out of the box. This is pretty cool. They have the carousel with animations and everything. They have check all. So, checkbox kind of things. I like that. Although what really should happen is when you see, there's almost like a little UI bug. Because when you should click off, I think it should just, instead of doing the minus, it should just get rid of check all. It's like no check all. But then there's the option to like, toggle it. So it's not terrible, it's just there's like a little hiccup. I don't really know what else to do here. I'm not gonna lie. I guess this is cool. Checking out the library. I did expect it to have more on CSS Zero. I'm not gonna lie, but it's still a cool project. I would rate this higher than the Alpine JS for sure. For sure, just because of the complexity. I mean, this one's still complex. Don't get me wrong. I think I'll give it. You know what? I want to give it like 6 out of 10 probably. Use more components and could, yeah, basically hide the CSS and JS code. Do the gem to and loading up. Now, these are all just my ideas. This is kind of my thoughts on these UI libraries. If you guys have any more UI libraries you'd like me to review or just try out, please leave those in the comments and I'll be sure to make a follow-up video where I try out those UI libraries. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more videos.